Yo, what's up, everybody? I don't know about you, man. I was watching that intro and I felt like really calm. I almost wanted to say hella calm, but I was like, is that appropriate for our show? Hey, we set the rules. Excited that you are here today. Let me bring in my co-host and my crew. Shout out to you, Vondel, Sim, and Chandra. What's up, y'all?
What's up?
What's going on?
Right, we here. The weather is kind of mixing it up a little bit, kind of cloudy, kind of sunny. But I think perfect for the topic that we are concluding this initial series with for our season two. So as we like to do, friends and family, first and foremost, man, right now, hit somebody up, share this with them, let them know that we are live. We need your support. We need your comments. We need your contributions. Really just verbally and through type. And let's get into it, right? So we are about to do our Jesus Come Quickly. We have been starting off with all of our new segments. I'm pretty excited. So let us run it, y'all. Jesus Come Quickly. All right, yo. Jesus Come Quickly is a segment where we are kind of amazed, shocked, mystified, or horrified by something that's occurred and really makes us cry out, Jesus, come quickly. So who's got the first one? Get ahead.
Mine is more along the lines of the horrified section. I don't know if you guys have heard of or follow this story, but there was a guy who married his goddaughter, and I guess like at least he waited until she was legal, and it just creeps me out on so many levels. But I was also laughing because every time I saw the story, his age was different. Like it started off with like, oh, he's 45. That's creepy. Then it was, oh, he's 51. Creepy. I think the last version I saw was he was 61. And I was like, I need someone to find a driver's license. At least, I'm still going to be disgusted, but I need to gauge, how angry and how disgusted. Like, I need to settle on something. So that's my horrification of Jesus needs to come yesterday because
Not the shifting age, though. Mercy. Jesus, come quickly. What you got, Sim?
So I got a couple, but one so today Central States Conference is ordaining their first female pastor, Kimberly Bolgen. So shout out for that. But I need Jesus to come quickly because people have been kind of acting the fool about it and still talking about how it shouldn't happen and it's not biblical. And everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but there's no reason to go around bashing the woman. And like people have definitely been acting the fool. Thankfully, there are more who have been uplifting and praying for her, and the conference has stood behind her despite the what the devil has tried to do through some people. So yeah, Jesus need to come quickly.
Jesus, come quickly because your saints now have access to technology. They get in Twitter bold.
Mercy.
Yeah. Sean, you got anything
Twitter
for us?
fingers.
Yeah, exactly. I need Jesus to come quickly because they actually have Karen Halloween costumes that people are buying and are probably going to be out in these streets acting like Karens. So
I need a picture.
I can't.
I promise you, it's just the wig, like the
I'm pretty sure it's just the wig, a bob wig, and some sunglasses. But apparently, they're selling out, and they're in outrage because it's like, all right, again, people finding a way to kind of profit off of racist acts and different things like that, and taking what the Black community has been talking about and making money off of it. So.
Honestly, I have very little sympathy for anyone that actually went and bought the costume because you just go buy a cheap wig and that's your whole costume. The fact that you went out of you gave Party City your dollars to buy a wig that your whole hairline.
I don't know what the current term is, but it used to be like 30 days ago. I am dying and maybe I'm crying. Like a Karen costume? Yo, like it's like blackface in reverse. Like I don't understand.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Do they dress up like white chicks?
I highly doubt anyone's gonna be that committed to it.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
You win. You win. You win for funniest Jesus come quickly moment. Like I don't even want to share mine, but I will. Because Jesus needs to come quickly. And this is no disclaimer, no knock to anyone in the mental health community because I understand it. But Jesus come quickly because Kanye is running out of ways to break down. Right? Like, first, my man, went on a full rant with a vest and all this, that, and the third, and then he, went the whole gospel route full tilt. Now my man is
And
chopping up
we
his
got a
head
good
and
album
calling
out of
it
it.
a hairstyle. And last I heard, he has changed his name to Ye, not Ye.
Yay, not yay.
No, but
No.
Ye. It's Ye.
Ye, like biblical ye.
Biblical
Come down
Ye.
from space.
Ye.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I need Jesus. I need you soon because I don't know what else he's gonna do. He's running out. He's running out of creative ways to break down. So we need it now.
Creative.
Man, if you join us in the chat, please write Jesus come quickly. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you notice that just made you cry out for your Lord and Savior? But let's get into it, man. Again, the final part of this series, we are talking about overall just kind of resetting, reorienting, learning how to rest, all that. And today we're gonna get into a reset. So let's do that, man. Let's talk about what it's like to reset. All right. So crazy thing, right? Technology has been amazing and wonderful. But with the proliferation of technology, last week's word, it has required us to do a number of different things. And sometimes like technology can be frustrating because something happens, it doesn't work. And one of the most amazing tools within the technology world is a reset. In fact, I can't help but think about every person over the age of 65 who asks me to like, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this? And I'm just like, reset it, right? Just start over. Because that's what a reset is. A reset is a start over. It is a going back, really to factory settings, as they call it, right? Back to you didn't have it, you didn't touch it, you didn't do anything to it, all the way back. So let's get into it, y'all, because I think there are some times where we need to reset. So let's start off with that. To my co-host, to my panel, to my team. When do you know, or what are some signs that you need a full reset?
So my personal I need a reset is I go through phases of like I have 3 million hobbies and I go through phases of each hobby is, and if I go through each hobby in the span of a week and I look around and realize that I can't find my floor, I'm probably doing too much. My brain is probably You ever seen that episode of SpongeBob where like he's trying to remember something?
That's blasphemous. Nobody watch that. That's not a cartoon.
Anyway, there's an episode of SpongeBob where he's trying to remember something, and there's all these little mini SpongeBobs running around his head. Everything's on fire, and they can't find what the information is, and it's just chaos. If I look around at the end of the week, or after a couple of days, and I'm like, I can't find my floor, and everything that I've ever liked to do in my life is scattered everywhere, I probably need to go sit down in a corner and like factory reset.
I'm going to first say this to make sure the show is on topic and point, right? Like, absolutely understand that a good indication of reset is when you feel like there's so much going on, right? Like there's all these different aspects of self that are happening at the same time. I will then clown you because SpongeBob ain't a cartoon. It's probably why you all messed up in the first place.
What is not a cartoon? Is it not
Wow.
Anyway,
That sounds personal.
Right. What does SpongeBob do to him? Like,
that was
what else y'all got, man? How do you know you need to reset? Please let us know too in the chat, man. We see y'all.
Yeah, see, I got support.
I don't know. I remember back to the first week when we were talking about rest and like how do you know when you need to rest? And I was saying that when like my body tells me. And so the reset comes when I try to rest and that's not enough, right? That's not working. I need a little bit more. My body is requiring a little bit more in order for it to go full throttle again. So similar to Vondell, like when I realize that what I normally do to rest is not sufficient and I got to take it up a notch.
That's really interesting too that you say that. Like whatever you've done to try to rest isn't enough, and that's a good sign to reset. Wow. Sorry for cutting you, but I thought that was something to pay attention to. Chandra, what do you got? Like, how do you know it's time to reset?
For me, it's just as simple as like when I start, kind of similar to Vondell, like when everything is kind of just too much and it's going crazy, and I forget like some of the most simple things that I might have to do. I'm like, you know, I feel like it's early onset Alzheimer's. And I'm like, that's because I've got too much going on. I'm too stressed. I need to take a step back. I need to stop. And that's when I know that I need to reset, because it's just, yes, things just start to become overwhelming for no reason.
And I gotta say, as much as I clown it, I'm kind of more in the not clown it, but I am definitely more in the lines of Sim. Like if I can't find any rest, like no matter how much I sleep, no matter how much like I watch something funny, I still feel like I'm just not present. And that's a big thing for me, kind of feeling like present. I kind of pride myself in being able to like multi-process. If I can't do that,
Mhm.
it's not a good sign.
Mhm.
It's not a good sign. Go ahead, cuz.
I did want to say, because Sim said something like along lines of like, if what I usually do to reset isn't working, because
Yeah,
like there's levels to it. So even with resetting, when it comes to technology, there's a soft reset and a hard reset.
yeah.
Where like if you try to
We
reset
talking
your
about it.
computer, it'll give you the option of like you can keep your pictures and so forth. We'll just clean out all the other things, and then there's we taking it from scratch. And I feel like a lot of the times we do not even the soft reset. We
Right.
try to like, I'll just delete a couple pictures and hope that that'll make the program run properly again. And then by the time you're like, dang, that didn't work, you have to do like a hard factory reset of like going to sit in a corner for a weekend and like
So I
throwing
kind of think that's
mushrooms. Like,
important. I kind of think that's important to talk about because I do believe that there is a difference. So, for example, my soft reset is like a general day. Like I have these goals, I have these tasks, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get this done. And let's say I don't know, traffic is an hour as opposed to like my commute is 15 minutes. Um, or you get that email, right, that you just shouldn't have gotten until like at the end of the day. For me, those are sign like the sign is when I just don't feel like engaging. Like I just won't. I won't feel like engaging at all. I'll absolutely do a soft reset. I'm like, yo, this tomorrow. By God's grace. Like I'm good for it. But
God willing, my creek don't rise.
that hard reset is what you said, Sim, is like when I can't engage in anything at all. Like I'm
Yeah.
always tired kind of deal. Like what's your hard versus soft reset? That's a good thing.
Yeah. You know, going back to what Vondell said, I was thinking the same thing, that there are different types of resets. So sometimes the reset is just, all right, let me exercise and knock out whatever, black out whatever was going on earlier today that kind of threw me off. And I find myself actually right now, full transparency, going through a hard reset phase. And that hard reset has involved me having some hard conversations that have been over or having to do with situations that have thrown me out of whack.
Mm,
And I
yeah.
realized that it was taking away my rest because X, Y, and Z was clouding my mind. Right. So now I had to go and have some hard conversations. And I kid you not, I had one of them this week, and that night I slept, and it was like, yo, I haven't like slept in a while. And I realized like that is a part of the hard reset that
Yeah.
I'm going through. And I feel like once I go through this phase or the stage, whatever it is, then it's like, all right, so all that junk got cleaned out, got taken care of, what needed to be saved and backed up was, and whatever needed to be deleted got deleted, and I could push forward.
And the thing is, I think what's so interesting about a topic like this in this age is because there is still that consistent press. And I think I'm going to use this kind of idea of like it compounds, right? So as time continues to go on, there continues to feel this press and pressure for to do, right? Or to build or to be great. And with that, like you feel like you have to always be going and remaining on and engaged, and it almost makes it hard for you to think even about resetting. And so even like our attempts to reset aren't really resets. Like they're just like shifts over, right? Like you just change lanes, but you're still going 80 miles per hour. Like you didn't actually stop, pull over to the side of the road, turn off the car, and say like, that happened. Go ahead, cuz. Let's see here.
To that point, all my soft resets are my hobbies. Like if I feel like,
Mm.
okay, I need to like relax, I still feel the need to be productive in some way.
Mm,
And so like, okay, I'm sitting down relaxing, but I'm crocheting. I'm sitting down relaxing, but I'm playing guitar. I'm trying to sew something. Like it's never a full like I'm gonna sit here, breathe in, breathe out, and like give myself time to rest. There's still like this need to be doing something even when I'm relaxing. Like even my relaxing can't be it has to be a product at the end of it that I'm getting out of it.
Yeah.
Which is so like that's my soft resets. Those are my soft resets. And generally they'll kind of work because it'll let my brain kind of just focus on one thing and clear out cobwebs.
Yeah.
I'm still not fully resting. So eventually my body's gonna be like, so either you can sit down and relax, or the next time you sit and blink, you're gonna lose 3 hours. What you want to do?
That's crazy. I'm actually looking at this. Vonda, it sounds like you got something, Chandra. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I think too, like for me, it's important to kind of try and sit down and figure out what it is that is causing me kind of like this, whether it's anxiety or the stress or the pressures, and then figure out what that piece is and then how to reset on that piece. So like if it's, you got more bills and you got money, and you've got to look at, okay, what's the finances? How do I kind of reset in my finances? Where can I cut my spending, and how do I alleviate some of that stress around some of those different things? So for me, sometimes it's not always just like a complete reset. It's a reset in a specific area that then kind of trickles down and helps to alleviate maybe problems that have sprung up in other areas as well. But identifying kind of where that main stressor is or that main pain point, at least for me, is important and critical.
I think
reset process.
It's really important.
You both highlight something that I think is also reflective in how we keep the thing that can be the source of our anxiety, which is our phones. Like I was just thinking to myself, I have like 1 trillion pictures on my phone. And I have found myself lately.
That's not exaggeration. If you go look in his storage, the number is actually 1 trillion. It's that many zeros.
And I found myself like unsure of what to delete, right? Like, because I have these are all important, right? These are all great, but they're taking up memory. Here's a little sermon inside here. They're taking up memory, and there's going to come a point where I won't have enough space to do what the phone needs to do because there are still apps, there are still all these other things.
Do what I do and get a new phone with more memory.
And that's what we do though, right? So you still go. So now you have all the old stuff in a new phone, right? You got old wine and new wineskin, and that don't help. And so I'm just thinking about something that you, Vondel, said and Aaron said in the chat, like this idea of having smaller opportunities to reset. And I'm trying to do that now. Like I'm trying to remember to just go through like that picture is trash. Like that was a picture in a stream of pictures, delete it. Because that's one less thing taking up space. Like it's important, I'm hearing from all of us here, to get into a habit of finding those small pockets to do mini resets. Right? Is it shutting off the phone at night? Not putting it on sleep, shutting it off.
If you call me after I turn my phone, after my glasses go clack, clack, and I put my phone down, whatever happened is between you and the Lord.
Wow. I know who not to reach out to because I will not
be able to help you.
So like let's talk about it, right? So Vonda, I think you shared your mini reset. Like Sim and Chandra, what are some examples of mini resets for you?
Yeah, I think it's stepping back from, especially this handheld device that we're always connected to. So whether it's like, getting off of Instagram or Facebook or whatever, off of social media for a little while. Typically even if people call me and I'm in that time frame where I'm like, this is my time, this is me time, I don't answer, and it's like, if it's really that important, they'll call back or they'll send a text like 911, that kind of thing. And so then I know, but other than that, it's like, I'm not dealing with anybody right now. I need that time to just kind of be in my own space.
What about you, Sim?
Read, I write.
I remember reading.
Remember reading. All right. Says the English
major, right?
I haven't read a book that wasn't for college since I started college.
Okay, maybe that's an offline conversation.
Yeah. So Sim, do you read physical books or do you read like on a Kindle or
no, physical?
Okay.
Physical. I can't.
She also still goes to libraries too.
Say it again.
I said she also still goes to libraries too.
Keep it old.
I just don't get the chance. I only get to visit my school library.
I was being sarcastic. You really do go to a library?
When I get a chance, I just don't get the chance to go.
Libraries are so calming. I love libraries.
Yes.
Libraries are great.
Says every person that was told to learn the Dewey Decimal System, except for my cousin, apparently. Like, what? Who goes to a library?
I definitely know the Dewey Decimal System. I wanted to be a librarian. I could go put my own books back by myself accurately.
I kid you
Oh
not.
gosh! Now I done woke up the library fan club.
My school was,
Yes.
we needed a librarian. I told my principal, like, I will be the librarian, and she was like, I need you back
Okay,
in
so
the
just an
classroom.
interesting fact about, well, it's not really a library, it's a bookstore, but a friend of mine was in Portugal, and the bookstore in Portugal is where the Harry Potter inspirations came from. Never read a Harry Potter book, but the bookstore itself is absolutely beautiful and amazing, and people just go there and sit for hours and have coffee or tea and amazing conversations. So
So let me put myself
don't hate on the libraries or the
Nah,
bookstores.
I love my heart. I got one in the mail this week. So I was like, oh, mail came for you. I was like, mail? I'm not expecting a package. And then they were like, it's from NCTE, which is basically the English Teachers Association. I was like, books! I got books! And I realized it was a book I won on like some IG giveaway. I was very excited. Those things excite me.
So it's crazy because let me put myself on blast. I think when you guys said that, I actually got a little sad on the inside because I used to remember going to Barnes and Noble and really enjoying the experience, right? Whether it be going through like a graphic novels or just the idea that like a library or bookstore is slow, and not in for anyone trying to be funny, not in like a bad way. It's just the pace is different, right? People in there because there's something about having a book in your hand. There's something about having to hold it that actually slows you down a bit. Like if you find yourself too busy, and speaking to myself now, to even maybe stop into a bookstore, really just to like slow down, maybe that's a good sign you need to reset.
Yeah, stop doing that.
It works.
Every time I stop into a bookstore, I come out with 4 books that I
don't end up reading. Got it. That makes sense.
Let me tell you how
that I have not touched.
One of my favorite authors. So I only read what's called YA lit, young adult literature, which is like high school, which is what I teach. That's what you read too?
That's my section.
All right, so we need to chop it up. And this author that I like, so I fangirl her. I'm gonna put it out there. I fangirl her, and she dropped this week. Nick Stone. She's coming out with like 4 books next year, and I was like, and this is where all my money goes. She also got a new tattoo from a book that she read. She was like, this line spoke to me so much. And I read it. I was like, what is this book? I need it in my life. And then the author finally was like, yeah, this is my book. Comes, I think, February next year. I'm like, pre-order. And this is why I have no money. So, but that's a soft reset for me. If I get time to read, I'll trick my kids into doing it. Like, today is silent reading because I want to read.
Not trick them so I can. And like, here's the other thing too. So we talk about the personal reset. One of the things that I've been looking at, it really in terms of my engagement with like, I'm going to say first personally, spiritually, is trying to pick up on signs when I need to reset spiritually. And I'm not, because there are times when I feel like I find myself stagnant, right? Like reading a chapter of the Bible puts me immediately to sleep. Devotions don't really connect. And it's just like, I'm like, I don't feel like really need to pray. If I happen to listen to a sermon, it's like, it just sounds like somebody trying to public speak in it. I'm being more critical. And I got to say, for example, and fun fact, today I went to a place, I will not say the name of this place because there are immature people on my panel and co-host. But it is a wonderful place inside Maryland. It had a great trail. It will be put in the chat, and I'm walking, y'all, and I put it in our group chat, and I was just like, I felt good. Like I didn't even know I needed this reset, and it was really, really good. And I find that when spiritually I'm disoriented, when spiritually like things are just not going right, a reset for me is nature. Like if I go back out to nature, like, I mean, really just get into like some kind of woods or trail or be near water, like water features are great for me. That really anchors me. So how about you? Like, what is your spiritual reset? Sign and activity. Let us know also in the chat. Right? What's your spiritual, sign that you need to spiritually reset, and then what do you actually do to get yourself back on track?
Yeah, I can't front that. It's Our Fault sermon was a bit of a spiritual reset for me with Dr. Knight, because it really had me think like, sometimes it's easier for us to point fingers at what we think other people are doing. And I found that series to be a kind of a slap in the face. Not in a bad way, but I was like, yeah, I could see when I've done that or when I participate in this behavior. And it's like, yeah, I need to take a step back and reevaluate some things and make sure I am really not the cause of other people's suffering.
Mm. And so, what do you do to reset?
That's just some reflection, like taking time. I write as well. So reading and writing, hence my degree in literature and literacy, but reading and writing are really my thing. So I will write it out. I will find something that I can read that pertains to that subject. So one of those two things. And I also like being out in nature as well.
Yeah.
So I go camping. I'm getting too old for it. My knees they don't work anymore. But I like being out there and I like being out of the city for that period of time.
Okay, so here getting outside, reading and writing. So there's a theme for Sim Petty, and what reset looks like. Chandra and Vondel, like, how do you guys know you need to spiritually reset, and or what do you do?
Yeah,
I
oh, go ahead, Rhonda.
no, sorry, go.
Yeah, similar for me. Like if I'm reading my daily devotion and I feel like I'm just reading it to check off the box of like, okay, I've done this, for the day. That's when I know that I'm not focused. I'm not focused on the word. I'm not focused on what, God is trying to say to me. So similar, I enjoy being out in nature. So whether it's going for a hike or for a run, um, doing that, definitely like out on water. And but then also the other side of that is listening to music. To be honest, like music puts me in a different frame of mind. So that's a good way for me too to kind of just disconnect, is just to kind of get in the zone of some good music and then come back at it.
A small plug here. If you haven't listened to Jonathan X Molly live, like you need to. That speaks to kind of just like what it's like to try to be a Christian today, in a like real present sense. Like 8 songs that just hit hard. By the way, we got something up here that says, a sign of not needing a spiritual reset is my worship gets shorter. Not looking to God before making decisions, and can see the old woman coming back. Talking about that inner person.
Okay.
Yeah, those are signs.
I
I
believe.
appreciate you putting that out there. But what do you do to reset? At Aaron, go ahead, Vondo.
I don't really know what. I guess my sign is if I if I start, for lack of a better word, craving hymns. Hymns seem to be if I'm always singing. There's always music in my head, but if the music in my head or whatever I'm singing is just straight hymns, like I'm singing "He Lives" at the cross, just going all then that's just all I'm singing. I'm probably like, okay, something's not right in my spirit or just in general. So, go take a walk, talk to the Lord, figure yourself out.
Wow.
Because I do, I mean, I listen to gospel music, all that good stuff. But if I default back to hymns, which I guess is like my comfort music, there's definitely an imbalance somewhere that I have to like go troubleshoot.
That's kind of interesting.
I very rarely sing hymns. Like if I'm not in church, I very rarely just sing hymns because, it sounds pretty. No. That's like my comfort blanket. And if something's not right, my knee jerk is to go then start singing hymns subconsciously. I never in my life have just been like, oh, let me go sing "He Lives" just cause. Nope.
That's my
Sing it and tune in halfway through the verse. Like I said, wait a minute. Then I'm like, yeah, go sing it.
as I randomly walk through the hallway singing "It Is Well with My Soul."
It is well. Man, when you see a teacher doing that, I'd be like, ooh, something's not right in the atmosphere. What's crazy though? I'm thinking about this. We've been talking about it for our Bible study on Fridays. Plug, you should definitely join Flow Studies on Friday. It's crazy that we don't really know how to rest, right? And I'm going to call out a specific denomination. We don't know really how to rest. But as Adventists, specifically, we have like hung our hat on this day of rest. You get what I'm saying? Like they be the most cantankerous.
Claim to
I'm
fame.
generalizing. I am generalizing. So if it's not you, it's not for you, right? Don't put the shoe on. But it just seems like a group of people can be so uptight and tense and be like unable and like really stagnant in this process of resting, yet that's all you promote. Oh, we're the seventh day Sabbath keeper. What does that stand for? What does the seventh day stand for? Someone tell me. It's rest, right? Like it's actually knowing how to take time apart. And yet we don't know how to do that. I don't know if that's anyone else's experience, right? Just feeling like if you think about it, you weren't really taught how to rest.
Because it was never really like, especially growing up in kind of the Caribbean church too. It's like you go from 9 a.m. and you're there till
9
9
a.m.
p.m.
You get to get
You
there that
know,
late?
you're there all
Who
day.
said
You know,
that
so
late?
there is no rest during that time. And then as you, because you're there with your parents. You know, you go to Sabbath school, then you have church service, then you have lunch, then you have AY, then there's some social or something else afterwards. So you're there all
Lunch
day.
would
So
be
there is no
coordinated.
rest. And then when you get older, you know, and you look for that Sabbath nap, that good nap that you get that you're like, man, this is the best sleep I've ever had after, good lunch or whatever. But I think, as Vandel was saying, is like we're always doing something, we're always going. And I
Mhm.
think it's because it's been ingrained in us since we were young that, yes, it's a day of rest, but it's the rest from your 9 to 5 week. But that doesn't mean that you should literally
Yeah, but
be
now I'm at
sleeping
9
all
to
day
5
long.
church.
And
Right.
so it's
That's what
crazy,
I'm
right?
saying.
You both talk about that, and it's also indicative in like the ministry side of things. There are some ministries that need to reset and don't. That you know what I mean? Like there's all right, Fondo, got your facial expression. Like let's be honest, like, the reset concept, the rest concept, the Sabbath concept is a principle that should be applied to like multiple areas of our lives. And we just feel like, all right, nope, I got this routine, I got this habit, I have this tradition, so let me just go,
Yeah.
go, go, and like it's that church that I talk about it's my red flag. If I walk in and I either receive a bulletin, or if I do choose the bulletin and I see the word introit on it, it's nope. Like you ain't changed. You have not adapted. You have not
Since
even
the
considered.
founding of the church.
Go ahead, somebody else, because I just like we need to
Um,
embrace that.
oh, um, this the whole panoramic and all that good stuff where churches have to shut down, whatever it is. I think it highlighted how habitual church had become for I'm talking SDA because that's all I know. How habitual church had become for SDA people and how much of a stressor it had become because given the opportunity, everyone just stopped. Like on your regular day you would go to church and it's packed, but you only have two people tuning in for the stream, which means that other people are not as invested. It was more
Mm,
obligation
yeah.
than and I'm going to church because of
Woo.
my love for the Lord XYZ, or I have things I have to do. I have to be at church today because I'm first usher and we're doing this, and it's just work. And
Yeah.
for me, not being able to go physically to a church highlighted how important Sabbath rest is for me. You're not gonna take that from me for nothing. I don't want you not if it's
Mm.
not something that's if it's something that's going to disturb my spirit. And sometimes church is on the list of things that's disturbing my spirit. You only want me to come to church because you have XYZ of a job for me to do. If I'm coming to the building already stressed, you already messing up my Sabbath. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
My Sabbath rest is so important to me right now. You're not gonna stress me out. You're not taking it from me. I don't. If the Lord rested on the seventh day, I'm not better than him. I'm doing exactly what he did.
Yo, Sim, I heard you about to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's also like it's this cultural thing. And I think it was last night at Bible study I was mentioning it that the idea of constantly working and feeling that if you're not working, you're not doing something productive, or people
Mm,
might feel that you aren't productive. And it may go back to days of slavery, right? Where people out on the plantations and they had to constantly be working. So master thought you were doing something, right? If you stood around for too long, you would get beat for it. There would be some type of punishment. So it has passed down through generations where you have to constantly be working. So even on Sabbath, rest must include some type of work to show others that I am capable, I am involved. If you ever take the time to or have had the opportunity to visit Adventist churches of other ethnic backgrounds, you'll see that their idea of Sabbath and rest looks very different. I remember I was going to a boarding school in another state. I won't put the state out there. But when we would go to the village church, right, the community church, after service, most of the kids were individuals of color. So we were used to like, yo, where's AY? And they're like, no, we don't do that here. And we're like, what are we
Go
supposed
home.
to do? Sabbath
Clutch
after?
pearls. Hashtag
Right?
clutch pearls.
Go
Hold on.
home.
But that's what we grew up with, right? And for them, it was like they'd have Sabbath lunch, a little potluck. It didn't have even so that community vibe, right? You're used to having Sabbath lunch and everyone talks and enjoys themselves. It's like, here's some cold spaghetti and apple juice. And then they're like, I'm going to fly my plane. I'm going horseback riding. It looked very different for them. And we were like,
Horseback riding.
yeah, what's
It
going
looked
on
very
here?
different.
But for them, their Sabbath rest looked very different. They also have different opportunities, different activities and things available to them that they can go fly their little, single propeller plane or whatever
Oh yeah,
it's
you can't
called.
do
They
that. That's
can,
fun. You're not allowed to have fun on the Sabbath.
they can go horseback riding. They go and ride their bikes. They go for these long nature walks because rest looks very different.
Yeah.
But if you haven't come from a background of feeling that you must work to please people,
Ooh.
right? Then rest can take on a different meaning for those who feel that I must work to prove myself. I must work to show others that I'm worthy. And it seeps into the church. So culture and traditions, they play a bigger role, I think, than we're sometimes willing to admit.
We took idle hands or the devil's worship to a foreign height.
Bro.
If
That's like
you
mentioning
it's
my family, right? Did I say that last night? I said that exact line last night because God rest her soul, Grandma Harris. That would be the line. You got idle hands here? Okay. Oh, apparently I'm working for somebody else now. If these hands are idle.
I love
I
your
was just
granny
sitting down
though.
breathing. Nope. Go find something. And it can't be. I think I had this conversation with my auntie the other day actually of just the restrictions on, and yeah, it does come back to, like you said, Sim, of culture and how you're raised background. The restrictions on what you're allowed to do on Sabbaths are like, you can only do things in church. Like you can't, oh, I'm gonna go walk on the beach. Oh, let me go ride my bike on the Sabbath. I can't go outside and enjoy nature. Be happy. Why I gotta sit in here and be miserable? I don't know. Look, I don't know what they talking about in there, and it got nothing to do with me. I'm not interested. Why are you trapping me here? Why are you holding me hostage? Like the amount of things you can do are so small that it's like, well, I might as well stay at church because ain't nothing else I'm gonna be allowed to do. Go home and twiddle my thumbs.
Because here's the crazy thing about this. In the
Count the
world,
cracks in my wall.
there is a liberation from this like concept of work that to me embodies the principle of the Sabbath that I think we as a community, a specific Adventist community, and anyone else who watches, if you're not familiar, again, we believe in like the seventh day Sabbath rest and not like just part church and do anything else. Like this idea of trying to connect with God as much. Like the world is embracing this concept. Like the world recognizes, like, hey, yo, I need to rest. Like COVID has highlighted that for so many. And this is
3-day weekends, guys. 3-day
Say
work.
again?
4-day work weeks. We should do 4-day work weeks.
Yo, I have been screaming that for schools for the longest, right? Anyway, we can wax poetically about this idea that like rest is actually what allows you to remain engaged. Like it's so what we do is so counterintuitive. Like I need to keep going. And I tell all my clients, like fun fact, if in my personal part-time work with clients, I like your body, it's a good book too. Your body keeps score. Like if you don't consciously do it, your body will force yourself to do it. For some people, that is that long sleep. That's the headache that you can't seem to shake. That's the pack of golden Oreo cookies that you just packed away. And you're like, oh, how I get on this thing? Because your body is eating the fact that it can't rest. Yeah, Sandra, I saw you nodding your head in agreement.
No, yeah. I had this conversation with my neighbor specifically about food, and I was like, we eat when we're happy and we eat when we're sad. And I think we have this like, and similar to like, I think a lot of people too, being at home during this pandemic, like it highlighted a lot of things. Yes, you got a lot of rest, but then there's also other activities that came of it. For me, I noticed that like I had to be more active and get out, because working from home, you know, you up and go to the refrigerator every 2 minutes and you're like, I'm not really hungry, you know, like why can't I just like sit down and focus, you know? And it's because of all of the things that were going on with like what you're seeing on the news with the pandemic and what people are telling you and all this other kind of stuff, that I had to shut out all that noise. And you know, we already talked about this, but going out and getting exercise and actually sleeping and spending a good amount of time just resting, and then being able to, you know, get back to proper and healthy lifestyle and a healthy way of being, both spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally, and resetting from all of that.
It's crazy. I think is because Vondo said this and it really hit me. It also, like, your ability to reset and your opportunities to do so is probably connected to, again, what you've learned and what you've been taught, but also really what you're desiring to connect to. Because I think instinctually, the closer you try to get to Christ, the more you realize when, why, and in some ways how to reset. Because the pandemic did that. And so for people that I think I engaged in the practice of, I want to say I engaged in the practice of church as opposed to the tradition of church. The practice of church is, we found over time, like Flow came about, right? Flow came about because we were in the pandemic. We knew that we still needed community. We knew that there were things that were still impacting us spiritually, and like, hey, as a community, let's connect together and talk about it. I wasn't so pressed to like, let me get in front of my Zoom screen with my collared shirt and my tie and make sure that I stand when they say stand and sit when they say sit. Like, that is the practice of church, not necessarily like the principle or the idea of church.
Collared shirt is crazy.
How many times I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna call this place out, but I was a part of a Sabbath school virtually that held, I mean, honestly, that held the same template and pattern of what Sabbath school was like in person. How, Sway? Like, help me
Commitment.
understand.
Yeah,
Commitment.
committed to the template.
We not gonna change for nothing.
But yo, cuz that talked about, that talks to what we were connected to, and we were connected to the tradition, not necessarily the understanding of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why so many of us, and this is why Flow is trying to continue to push through as a ministry itself, is because like I think all of us are really hurt or jaded by the tradition of church, but not necessarily like the principle and the true understanding of what church is.
Yeah. And I think people need to understand. I'm sure there's someone out there listening that feels like we bash church, we have a problem with church. Personally, I don't have an issue with church itself in terms of what its purpose is. My issue is with individuals who make up the church, who choose not to use the brain that our dear Jesus gave them and think outside the box. The truth of the matter is, these same individuals who follow the traditions in church week after week, year after year, do the same thing in other aspects of their lives. I'm sure they have the same setup for Sabbath lunch as well as family dinners in the week. They do the same thing at work. If it's not broke, I'm not fixed. There's no need to fix it. When a coworker is like, yo, I think there's a more effective way or efficient way we can do this task. Why, we should try it. They're like, nope. Boss said this is how it's going to be done. I've been doing it this way. I've been getting the same results. I'm not changing anything. So it's about a mindset reset as well. People aren't changing things outside of their lives, right? So why should I change it when it comes to church? God is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
And he's the only one.
And we are not God, so we're gonna have to change it.
I shall be the same yesterday, today,
and forever.
Amen.
But there's a paradox that exists in that, right? Because while that is true about God, it's also true. The Garden of Eden, if he wanted to be that consistent God, he could have said, it's a wrap. He adjusted for us. You know what I'm saying? And then, all right, so he's rocking it Old Testament style. Then it's like, days of Noah. Think we need a reset. Right? Babylon, reset. Yo,
Sodom and Gomorrah, reset.
The cross is a reset. Like
Hard
the
reset.
cross is the ultimate example of a reset. Go ahead, Chandra. I saw you. No, oh, I thought you had
No,
something.
I was gonna say the same thing, that it's like, we talk about, like, sim what you just said about how God's the same today, and everything else. But it's like, when you're connected and when you read the word, when you read, one passage, if you take the same meaning away from it every time you read it, to me, you're not really connecting, you're not growing, because it shouldn't, if you're growing in your life and in your spiritual, that passage or a different passage is going to have a different meaning for you for that time frame. So I think it goes back to, what is that connection? And if we are not constantly pushing ourselves to study the word, to get into it, and to shift our mindset from the traditional way of doing things, then I don't know, it's just, we're gonna get lost. We're gonna be, I don't know, not left behind, but like, there's not that connection. It becomes very, very thin, in my opinion.
That's real. And okay, cousin.
I wanted to say, like, so the thing of like God is the same today, yesterday, and forever, and therefore we must be the same. I think we're picking the wrong things to keep as the same, right? Like there are certain tenets of our faith that should never change. Saturday is always the Sabbath. Don't go murdering people. Don't take the Lord's name in vain. Like these are tenets that do not shift. But like, if I suggest that we maybe shuffle Sabbath school back an hour because that will probably benefit the church, and you look at me like I shot you in your knee, maybe we're holding on to the wrong thing, right? Like we're staking our faith on the performance of it, and not necessarily whether it's genuine. Sim said something earlier of like wanting to prove to other people that we're doing what we're supposed to do, and that where our faith is XYZ. And that's the issue of like, I don't need to prove nothing to nobody. Whether you think I know the Lord is your own business, right?
Yeah.
Like I know my relationship with God. I do not need to be in church from sun up to sundown to prove to other people that yes, I know the Lord. Because when judgment day come, my man is not gonna look at me and be like, so how many hours did you clock in at the building? That's not gonna factor into that. What's gonna factor into is my heart, what I like, how I lived my life, all that good stuff. Whether I opened and closed the church every Sabbath, it's not gonna show up in the book of life. Like, but there was that day you can be 5 minutes late. Like we are focusing on the wrong parts of this.
And that's something that I think I want to double down on what Sim said, and why I love being a part of this ministry, because it isn't about bashing church. I actually dare say it's about challenging what church really is. It is about connection. It is about conversation. It is about really finding the ways that you apply the things that you learn in your personal time, right? Like that's really what church was supposed to be about. You were hopefully supposed to be going through and studying on your own, like at the days of Torah and whatnot, and then you came into the house to receive and discuss the word, right? Dissect it. And I think that's where you find yourself growing. Like, oh, you heard that from the scripture? That's not really what I got. I got this. Oh, really? Okay, how do I apply it? And so as a ministry, Flow is about that space, right? Talking about our lives, because we don't just live them on Saturday. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, and I want to just put something out there. I know we talk a lot about the Adventist Church because that's
That's what we know.
who we are.
Yeah.
However, I want to make a plea to those who are watching and may attend church on Sundays or other days of the week. The Sabbath is out there for everyone. So whatever day it is that you at this time feel to be your Sabbath, take that rest.
Yeah.
It
All of it.
shouldn't just be like church and back to normal. Like going to church is not Sabbath. Sabbath is more than that. Going to church may be a part of your Sabbath, a
Yeah.
part of your rest, but it is not a complete equal, if that makes sense. So whatever day it is that you're going, take your Sabbath rest. Make sure that you are spending time with your family, with yourself, reflecting on how you made it through the week and what it is that God has afforded you to go through or make it through, so that you can be prepared for whatever is coming next. That's
That
it.
part,
Sabbath,
Sam. That part.
Sabbath
Like
is the built-in reset.
it is. And
Take
it's
it.
the crazy thing, right? I don't even want to leave this for the connection because there's so much. But that's the thing. Sunday or Saturday, I think in general, the Christian body kind of got it a little off, right? That's where I think honestly the devil kind of seeped in some principles of like the world. If I just get them to keep going, if I just get them to keep going, keep working, keep doing, right? Keep getting them to feel like there's always that one thing more. They'll miss this really heavenly principle. Like it is a heavenly principle. It is divine. It was created before time, and it really is a mindset. And I love that you said that, Sam. Like it's a mindset of like, it's cool. Like I don't got to do. I'm fine right here, and just allowing your body to heal, to connect, and it is just so powerful. And so, we're creeping up on time, and we as a ministry, and I'll lead you guys for what our flow reset did for you. We talked about it the first episode in the series. We needed the time. Like we took a time. We realized that we were not kind of performing at optimum. We were tired, and I'm going to say for myself, I didn't feel connected in the same way. And so we opted as a team to kind of pause and to reset. And I find myself excited again to get back into flow spaces. I find myself with different ideas for how to engage and wanting to continue to push this platform and this space out well beyond just where we are now. And that's my general plea for everyone out there. Like we as a team of young adults are embodying these principles because we want to like live them out as examples, not just talk about it. So I know the flow reset, that time we took apart in the summer, was awesome. Dang, the voice in the sky is wrapping me up already. Says thanks for watching. Go ahead, y'all. Before we run.
See y'all next week. Click. Hello.
Bye. It's like to rest.
So what did the flow reset do for you as your wrap up?
For me, it made me take time to really think if this is what I wanted to do. I know I was introduced to flow through my cousin. You guys were doing a show, and she sent me the link. I was like, hey, this might be something you're interested in. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Right? Hey, Rob is on it. I know this dude. And that's how I got connected. I started doing Sabbath school and Bible study and just became a part of this community, which for me felt kind of like a sign. I wasn't really involved in my home church. And this was a space where I felt comfortable. And so I was like, all right, I could rock out with these people. And I got more involved with flow and just kept going. Like we were just going every week. There was something else. In the week, we were just doing. And then that pause came, and it gave me time to reflect, like, okay, do I really want to continue with this ministry? Is it going in the direction that I want to go in terms of ministry work and Jesus work? Or, was it good for COVID? And then we split ways, and I do my thing and they do theirs. So it gave me that opportunity as well.
Us to fill the time. I thought we really had something.
Sometimes you think you do.
Not the cold cut.
Dang. Voice in the sky, run it.
But that was it. It was really a time to say, all right, is this who I want to rock out with? Are these people that I want to continue to engage with on a long-term, on a long-term plan, on a bigger scale, in order to do this Jesus work? And I'm here, right? So something must have.
Ask Chandra, what the reset do for you? The flow reset do for you?
The flow reset it kind of came at a time that was perfect because I had a lot of family members kind of come in. So there was a lot of things that were going on in my personal life. So it gave me time to really kind of focus on that, which was good and important. And then it also allowed me the time to prioritize all of the, my work things and then my extracurricular things as well. And kind of similar to Sim, like understand what I wanted to take priority and what I was going to, put my efforts towards. And so doing this as well as some other work that I do with the church and young folks, it's really important to me. And so being able to regroup, to refocus, and then I think also for us as a team to come together and highlight what direction we wanted to go in and how to do that in a more sustainable way. Because as what we were doing before, it was great. We had a lot of fire, but we were burning out pretty quickly. And so I think taking that time to step back and being able to realize, yes, this is something that we're all invested in, but we need to be invested in a sustainable way that's going to allow us to go for the marathon and not for, that immediate 100-meter race.
Cuz, what did the Flow Reset do for you?
Similar to Sim, I guess it let me decide and like reaffirm that like this was something that I really wanted to, was invested in, and was here because I felt called to, and not necessarily because my cousin's doing it, so I should go be involved. And it also helped prevent like a full burnout towards a new ministry. I think often you start doing a new ministry and you can never leave. And you're just like, I've been doing this day in and day out, it feels like, for the past umpteen years. And so it helped avoid that. Is even if, I come back, I get that time to, okay, is this still my place that I want to be and that I feel is I'm helping? Or am I doing this because I've always done it? So it was a good reflection time.
Awesome. And I appreciate y'all for sharing that. We're about to run some tags in the connection. I just want to highlight to everyone, slow down, reset. We'd love for you to join us in the various things that we have across the weekend. Every weekend, we begin Fridays with the word, as we call it. It will go back to 7 as the daylight savings time changes. If you need contact for us, like how to get to that, you can go to metrosda.org. Also, we have on Saturday mornings at 10:30 a.m., we like to give you a little bit of soul food, right? You have a good little breakfast at 10:30. We talk about the word, really dissect it and have really great conversations. And then you also can end your Saturday with us at 4:30 with Flow Presents as we talk about different topics. Also coming up, man, I'm really excited for this. We have our next series, kind of following up on the important conversation that Dr. Wesley Knight from Revision Church in Atlanta started. It's our fault. We are going to have a number of ministers and some other laypersons and just people in general talking about church hurt, talking about church accountability, right? Religious institutions accepting and acknowledging the pain that has been put out there for individuals. And then how do we do differently going forward? This isn't just a complaint fest. This is a how do we do differently going forward? So, come back November 6th, right? It's time to talk about the I'm sorry, the apologies, the I apologize, and the my bads. So thank you for watching. We're about to run the connection. Let's run it. Yo, let me hit y'all with this. For anyone watching, if nothing else, realize that the Sabbath is a God-given gift to you to slow down. Right? While the world wants to speed you up, wants to pump you full of coffee and espresso shots, God is trying to slow you down to save you and keep you. And the crazy thing about it, if you embrace this principle and this mindset, you will find yourself, like the Bible says, being the head and not the tail. Like you will find yourself achieving more than your peers because you embrace this principle of rest that is divinely instated by God at the garden, and something that he wants you to continue to practice to this day. Saturday or Sunday, whatever it is, embrace it. The Sabbath was made for man. It was made for you and I to slow down. So take your weekly reset. Notice when it's time to either do a factory reset or even a soft reboot, because you are important, you matter, and you're valuable. We look forward to seeing you November 6th at 4:30. We start It's I'm Sorry, our series in response to the sermons that Dr. Wesley Knight from Revision Church put out there. We hope that you watch those sermons and you come ready to type, to chat, to change. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your day.